Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome back to World of Tanks. We're taking center stage again, or rather, the subscribers are, and this is SturmJager. Now, SturmJager is playing in the T-44 on the Arctic region map in a tier 9 game. I believe he is playing on the North American server, but he is an Australian, and therefore he has awful ping. I believe he would also have awful ping on the Southeast Asian server, so Australian players, you have my sympathies. Additionally, SturmJager has asked me if he would inform you guys of his own channel. He also does World of Tanks commentaries, and if you're interested in that, or interested in going on over to have a look, then by all means do so. He would be very much appreciative. Anyway, let's take a look at his replay on the Arctic region map in the T-44. Now, the T-44 is not my most favourite tier 8 medium. I don't actually own it. I have played it on the test server, and I have owned it briefly, but I couldn't be bothered to go through the stock grind because it's awful. You have to use an 85mm gun that you use way back on the tier 6, T-34-85. You also use it on the T-43, but you can deal with that on the T-43 because it's tier 7. Now on the T-44 you have to, I believe, upgrade the tracks and the turret in order to mount this 100mm gun. Now the 100mm gun has 175 penetration and its APCR only has 235. This is a weakness of the T-44. It has a difficult time penetrating certain targets, and it used to be even worse because it had a horrible rate of fire compared to its peers. But Wargaming did decide to give it a buff quite a while ago, I believe, in terms of its rate of fire. Now, the mobility to T-44 is okay, but it's nothing compared to the T-54 that comes after it. And for a lot of players, the T-54 is the end goal, and the T-44 is something that you use to get towards it, and after that you sell it. It's a nice shot into the back of the IU-251. And there is the T-54 that I was just mentioning. Misses the shot, unfortunately. I believe that T-54 is behind a rock or some kind of ridgeline. So he misses both his shots, which is unfortunate. And I don't think he would have penned that with 175 anyway. Oh, T-30 tank destroyer, side shot, 175. No problem going through the side. Tracked in place, set on fire by a teammate. Spotted, pulls back behind cover, waits, then fires. Nice play there, very nice to see use of cover. Now, if he was transparent, the bushes in front of him, he would likely be spotted for firing, but because he's behind the bushes, and they are not transparent, they're opaque, he can fire with impunity in most circumstances. He also probably has quite a nice crew as well. As you can see, he has 6 cents, probably a full repair crew, perhaps some cameraing in the form of camouflage as well. Finishes off the T-30. Very nice to see. He's up to 1500, 1600 damage even. Fortunately, he's a bit slow on the shot with the M41, but I'll put that down to the 200 ping he's experiencing, like I believe most of Australia has to deal with, which is unfortunate. But he's still doing well regardless. And again, misses the shot on the FCM. I believe if he did hit the shot, it would have likely ricocheted the side, and to be honest, the FCM is not like most French heavy tanks, especially the AMX 50, 120, 100, and the AMX 45. Actually has some good turret armor compared to those. And the AMX 50B has some troll armor as well, but at tier 8, the FCM certainly has better armor than the AMX 50 100. Anyhow, SturmJager has noticed the enemies becoming a bit too close for comfort in that M41 Walker Bulldog and the T-54. However, he's noticed a T-71, puts a shot into the side of that very thinly armoured light tank, scout tank, gets tracked in place and fires another shot. However, he takes a huge hit from the IS-6 in return, knocking out his ammo rack, pulls back into cover, and decides to repair it. It wants to continue the rate of fire and have a good chance of taking enemies out. M41 getting a bit cheeky. Thought that shot would have missed because it deviated slightly. But he manages to angle the armor nicely and bounce the return fire. Puts another good shot into the M41. I'm not sure what that M41 is thinking. He's just being hit by several rounds, including SturmJager T44. It's up to 2,600 damage. He's also reloaded APCR. He's a bit hasty on that shot, but I can understand. He doesn't want to get hit by the T54. Fortunately, he plants the shell straight in front of the T54, below the hull. Isn't quite ready to fire at the M41 and he pulls back into cover. Now, if you've noticed the map, behind him there aren't any more allies and he has to get out of here. Now this is the perfect play in this situation. Getting out of there, making sure you're only being shot from one direction at a time. He also has some very nice help from the M12 artillery on his team. Takes out the M41 like it's nothing, and there he goes. He manages to get out of there. 168 hit points. He does take a shot in the rear from the FCM, but he's alive and he's pretty much secured the game, along with help from his team from in the south, as well as that M12 as I mentioned. And it's nice to see he appreciates the help and says thank you in chat. M12 responds, no problem. It's great to see, considering the chat is usually just a cesspit of negativity. Now he doesn't really want to peek that FCM again, considering he's only on 68 hit points and the armor of the T44 is unlikely to be able to bounce a 212 penetration gun. Nice shell in from the artillery again, 381 damage. Still got the APCR loaded, but he takes a side shot, goes straight in, very nice. Bit more damage to secure the end of the game. Waffenträger of Panzerfeuer takes out the last enemy. Very well played, SturmJager, especially under the circumstances in a quite mediocre penetration gun. Good mobility of the T44, and also you have to deal with the 204 to 220 ping. Let's take a look at your post-game statistics. So here are SturmJager's post-game results. As you can see, a mastery badge, very nice to see, ace tanker rather, fire for effect, spotter, hand of god, bruiser, 62,000 credits earned with a premium account, and 6,012 experience. Of course this was a ×3 first one a day, but regardless, it's a very nice result to see, especially if you're grinding out the XP to get the T54, tier 9 Soviet medium, which is probably one of the best, if not the second best medium in the Soviet tree, in my opinion. The team score, he came top on experience, 1336 base, almost 3000, 2906, 2 kills, only beaten on damage by the IS-6, 3300, so he wasn't that far off. FCMs also made quite a contribution to the game, especially this top FCM, as I thought they may have done, because they were pretty competent players and they were in a platoon together. 24 shots fired, 15 hits, 13 penetrations. So of the shells he fired, he chose the ones that he knew he was going to penetrate most of the time, and he managed to penetrate all but 2. However, the inaccuracy of the gun showed, as well as the fact that he's on 200 ping, so he still did very well regardless. Now, spot ribbon was for this 3000 spotting damage, which is very, very good to see, and that's why this was a mastery game. Great job. Anyway, you can see the rest of the stats, breakdown of credits, battle duration, and experience earned. Now, as I said earlier, SturmJager does have his own channel. It's in the description down below if you want to go have a look. I'm sure that will make his day. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed watching it. Thank you for SturmJager for sending it in. And if you want to tell me your thoughts on the T44 below, tell me if I'm wrong. Is it a good medium tank, or is it a tank that you have to work with in order to achieve something? In terms of you have to put in more effort than other mediums. Anyway, as always, I've been Geogen, this has been World of Tanks. Send a stage with the subscribers. And I will see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.